Welcome to Human Potential at Work, the show where we explore social impact, inclusion, and empowerment of everyone, including persons with disabilities. Your host is Deborah Rue, CEO of Rue Global Impact and co-founder and chairwoman of Billion Strong, an identity and empowerment organization designed to bring billions of voices of persons with disabilities together. To join the global community and to donate to the cause, visit billion-strong.org. That's billion-strong.org. And now, on to the episode.
Hello, everyone. My name is Deborah Rue. I have a little bit of a cold. And today I'm so excited because my wonderful friend, Lamondre, Dr. Lamondre Pugh, is joining us to give us an update on Billion Strong. And Billion Strong is something that I'm so excited about. And I think that if I died right now, I would feel like that was part of my legacy. I'm very excited about it. But we want to talk about the journey and what we've done, what we have accomplished. We've actually accomplished stuff despite, you know, what's happened in the world. But we have some really exciting, wonderful news too. I've had Lamondre on the show before, and if you don't know him, he's a brilliant, amazing leader, and I'm so proud to work with him. Also, let me take a moment to give you a quick visual description. I am a mature woman with brown glasses on today. I have on a hat because it's cold in Virginia. And I'm having to look down what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a beautiful reddish color, which is very complimentary of what Lamondre is wearing. And I have gray and purple hair. I'm really excited about having Lamondre on to talk about where we are, where we're going, and the progress that is made. That has been made. So Lamondre, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you so much, Deborah. I certainly do appreciate being back with you again. I am Lamondre. I'm a black man with a bald head and a full beard, salt and pepper beard at that. I am wearing a kind of reddish rust colored shirt with some beige flecks in it. And I'm behind me is a bluish colored wall. I'm seated in my home office in my power wheelchair. And it is amazing to be joining you all again. So thank you for having me, Deborah.
Lamondre, I imagine most of the audience knows who you are. But instead of just assuming that, do you mind telling people about who Lamondre is? Let's just assume people don't know who you are. Of course, we're very proud to call him the CEO of Billion Strong, the world's first identity organization for people living with disabilities. It's very exciting. But tell us more about who Lamondre is. You say, for example, you're using a power wheelchair. Yeah.
Absolutely. Who am I? I'm a person who loves life. I have a mission. My mission in life is to help people live big, full, authentic lives on purpose. And Billion Strong is a part of me fulfilling that mission that's in me. I am a person with a disability. I have spinal muscular atrophy. And spinal muscular atrophy is a rare neurological disorder where my body doesn't produce a specific protein that's necessary for healthy muscle growth. And so the result of that is I am a full-time wheelchair user. I need assistance with bathing, feeding, getting. If you can name it, I probably need some kind of help with it. And I lead an incredibly dope life. I'm a speaker. I've traveled extensively throughout the US and other parts. And I really enjoy just delivering the message that life is worth living and that we all need to figure out how do we embrace authentically who we are so that we can show up in the world the way that we want to and the way that really feeds us? So, in a nutshell, that's it. I love people, I love God, and I love to communicate. I have a really big mouth, so I talk a lot.
But you're very good at it. And you were talking about the care that support that you needed. We all need support sometimes. We all need support sometimes. Sometimes some of us need more support than others. But the reality is, God, you brought up the G word, but I believe God has blessed us here on earth, and we're all here with a purpose in our hearts, and we want to build legacy. And I hope that society understands that we all need caregivers at times, and that we could really start to really support talented individuals, human beings that also need caregivers by not only supporting you, but supporting the caregivers with meaningful paid careers. Because I'm sorry, but I think taking care of a human being is probably the most important thing a person can do. I'm sorry, I think it's much more important than technology, marketing, taking care of human beings it's a beautiful thing. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that we will really rethink a lot of these things in society. And that's one reason why we created Billion Strong.
And I think that a part of that is to help people realize that we're all caregivers, that I am responsible for I am responsible for us. Just like you are responsible for us. And when I think that once we take that universal look at what it is to be a caregiver and recognize the value that those who are professional caregivers bring to the world, I think then we'll start to see some progress. And you're right. That's why we created Billion Strong. For those of you who are not aware, Billion Strong, as Deborah mentioned earlier, is an identity organization by and for people with disabilities. We believe in empowering through connection. We believe that we believe that with the 1.3 billion voices that are around the globe of people with disabilities, and that 1.3 billion comes from the World Health Organization, but we know it's a lot more than that. But the 1.3 billion people on the planet who have disabilities, if we were to come together and spoke with a unified voice, the change that we could make, the progress we could make, the ways that we can move not just the community of people with disabilities forward, but how we can move the world forward. It really is mind-boggling to think about that. And so that is our audacion. That is what we attempt to do, is that we can bring people together to create positive change so that people can develop a positive disability identity and make positive change in the world. So it's not just about demanding the seat at the table, but it is about taking the seat at the table because the table is ours. The table
Yes.
is ours as well. Yeah, so that's who we are, and that's what we are.
I have a question, Lamondre. You said that we are an identity organization for people with lived experiences with disabilities. Is this also an organization for people that are parents of a child with a disability and I'm getting to a point, but the point is we have
Huge
and
community.
every human being is welcome to Billion Strong. And human beings like me, that I'm a mother of a beautiful daughter with Down syndrome. I was married to an amazing man that I didn't realize had a disability, but he actually had a disability when I met him because of a former traumatic brain injury that sadly led to dementia. And then who knew? I have ADHD. Everybody around me knew, Deborah. Only you didn't know. And I'm totally hyper and annoying and things with my ADHD, but it's a gift in my world because I won't let go of something once I decide this is time to, make a difference. But so I know, Lamondre, when I first started in this field in 2000, I came from a banking background, banking and technology background. And I was told by a lot of expert leaders that I wasn't needed. We don't want to hear from the parents anymore. You're not needed. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Why am I not needed? Because nobody wants to even talk to my daughter about working. Don't you need all of us in this? And I was really, what it did was it just made me more determined to do it. As soon as somebody tries to block me, I just am so stubborn and I look for ways to climb right around them. I am not somebody that's going to be stopped by somebody else's playing small. Just not going to
Right.
do it. So I was just wondering if you could address that. I know how you feel.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, I think it's important that we recognize that community is much more than just the individual who has a disability. That community extends to a family. Community extends to loved one. Community extends to friends. Community extends to allies. Community extends to accomplices, which is a little deeper
Love
than
being an
allies.
accomplice.
That is all a part of this community, and that's who this movement is for. So it's created by people with disabilities, but the community in itself is made up of so many individuals, people who support, people who love, people who fight for, people who want to understand the community of people with disabilities even more. So this is community. And so with Billion Strong, sign up for the movement because this movement is for you. I am of the philosophy and belief that whenever things are better for people with disabilities, you make it better for everyone.
I agree because people with
Everyone.
disabilities are people.
Absolutely. And the reason that I say everyone, because if you're talking about access, if you're talking about overcoming societal barriers, if you're talking about all of those kinds of things, if you break that stuff down for people with disabilities, you've eliminated so many other barriers for people who don't identify as people with disabilities. So, again, if you make it better for people with disabilities, you make it better for everyone. And if we expand the idea of what community is, it gives us more power. It gives us more strength. We're no longer siloed off into the corner as that special little group over there. First of all, 1.3 billion, even in its conservativeness, is not little by any
Mhm.
means. By any means is that a small number. But when you actually look at where that community reaches and the people who are impacted by the individuals with disabilities, you realize that number is huge. It is huge.
Yes.
And that, my friend, is our community.
We are a beautiful community. So, Lamondre, I know that maybe what you could do is give us an update on what you accomplished last year. I'm going to remind the audience we started Billion Strong in April 2021. And we were all so excited. We were so excited about it. And we thought it had such wonderful potential. We also were walking still that pandemic thing and COVID-19 and all that stuff and the realities, and still walking walking where we all have walked for so long, and that society didn't want to fund the work that's really going to make a difference. I believe society's shifting and changing. I really believe that. But I just had to admit that it was a really hard walk. We had struggled with funding. We struggled getting our 501. Sadly, I lost my husband, my family had that hard walk. Lamondre lost multiple people. We all know what we all walked, but yet you still accomplished a lot last year.
We did. We absolutely did. And I say we because it's a team effort, it's a group effort. This is a movement. This is not an individual pursuit. This is a movement. And honestly, with all of the challenges that all of us faced collectively as an organization, as a group, it was daunting. It was daunting. There were times when we had to support each other in some tremendous ways. However, through that support, through that coming together, we were able to persevere and do some amazing things with very
Yeah.
little. Right now, we have over 94 country partners that have signed up to be a part of Billion Stronger. Now, I don't mean just signed up just to be a part of the movement. No, these are areas and people from around the world who have said, not only do we support the movement, we want to work in the movement. And I will tell you, our country partners have been amazing. And what's beautiful about this is that we're not just talking about country partners in the areas that you always hear about in the US and Canada and in the UK and in Australia. And don't get me wrong, all those are wonderful. And we've got them too. But we've gotten country partners in places that are traditionally unserved and underserved, areas that you don't hear about, countries in Africa, places that people dare not even mention when we're talking about progress, let alone disability. So, and I will tell you, the spirit of cooperation
Mm.
that is being shown, the innovation that is coming out of these country partners just by letting us know what they're doing in their area, what challenges they're facing, and how they're using their creativity and ingenuity to overcome those challenges. And we can talk about that a little bit later on in more specific details. However, it's amazing to see what's happening. We forwarded the conversation about identity throughout this past year in terms of presentations, in terms of having conversations with people who you typically would not have the conversation about intersectionality with, or conversations about what does it look like to really be an inclusive environment when disability is looked at as a point of diversity as opposed to a barrier or an obstacle or a
Right.
deficit. So we forwarded those conversations. And honestly, much of this is a conversation. We've worked with young people. We've partnered with organizations whose main focus is to help young people develop and be mentored. This is what we did. We helped to bring a disability component to that was missing before. And I believe we said, what was it, over 35 delegates?
No, I think no, it was 60. We sent over
60.
60.
Wow.
60 plus.
35 was the cutoff phase. That's what it was.
But then they even let us walk over the 35 a little bit because we had some people with disabilities around the world that was, say, 36. They still let them come, but it was so exciting to see all the people with disabilities and all the different types of disabilities, including, for example, people with intellectual disabilities that often are not included in these conversations. And
Right.
it was so exciting
And
to
let me
be
tell you
with.
what was and what was really excited about this particular project to me, with over 60 delegates that we to that, was this is an organization that looked to connect young people with decision makers, with business leaders, with people who are in the community, not to necessarily mentor, but to come up with solutions to help change issues facing the world. So this really was a situation where these young people, they developed a voice, and not only did they develop a voice, they were able to use their voice to see some concrete change and connecting with people who are decision makers. And so this was very powerful. And I will tell you what was so beautiful. One of the things that was so beautiful to me about this was an organization reaching out saying, you know what? We want to be better about disability. We want to be more inclusive in general. Can you help us? So it wasn't that they wanted to try to figure this thing out themselves. They reached out and we partnered with them, and they had a beautiful class because of this. So this is really about putting that voice out there and changing the world. We also work with an organization called Nos Why Not. That's it. Nos Why Not.
No, why not?
Yeah. And this particular organization is a photography agency that utilizes photographers with disabilities and displays their work. And we've been able to partner with them. And we're doing some really creative things with them. Here's what's interesting about this. This is not just a US thing. This is not just a Western world kind of thing. This we're talking about partners, we're talking about partnerships, we're talking about making change globally. And so while it happens in pockets, the fact is that it's happening sprinkled throughout the world. And so it really is amazing. It really is amazing the connections that we've made. And one of the connections that I'm really excited about is a connection with Enable India. Uh,
Love enabling you. I
Absolutely.
love
A
them.
connection with Enable India, where some amazing things are happening. These people are our friends. They are our friends. And the reason that I use that kind of language is because we see the progress that's happening there. We've seen the struggles that they have faced, and they're reaching out, and we're partnering, we're making things happen. And what we're doing is we're highlighting creativity. We're highlighting people using their ingenuity to make a difference. And we're supporting what is called the Discovery Awards. And Deborah can talk a little bit more about that. But it's overwhelming when you look back and you start tallying up, what have we done? What are we doing? And how are things going?
Especially when you had zero funding. Just saying.
And let's say that again,
Yeah.
zero funding. This is all happening. Very little financial support to make this happen, but we're making it happen.
And we got some really good news a couple of days ago. And I'm going to let you announce it, but so excited.
Yeah, no, this is really exciting because this opens the door for so many things. As Deborah said, we started this in April of 2020, and we've been working feverishly to make some things happen with that. And one of the big issues is that because of this huge pandemic that was going on, we were slowed down in our process and in the progress. And for the longest, we were operating without a 501c3 because it just wasn't there. Things were moving slow. It grinded to a halt. But as of this past month, we finally received our 501c3. So now we can drive with a license. How about that?
Yes. And God bless IRS. All of the people working at the Internal Revenue Service, they got hit so hard too. So we have a lot of empathy for IRS, and we appreciate that they did approve us as soon as they could. But the reality is the pandemic did slow things down. And Lamondre, I know you said 2020, but I know you meant 2021.
2021, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Just because we really do, we're just so stoked. And now we're legal. We're legal. So it's so exciting. And also, I want to make another comment. The Younga group that you had mentioned, we were working with Bridging the Gap, Kelly Lovell,
Yep.
who's amazing. But once you became a delegate for Younga, you remain a delegate. And so those 60 plus people with disabilities are now engaged with Younga, and they're sending them other opportunities, I mean, it's really amazing. So even though Billion Strong put these amazing people out there, Younga grabbed them and it's like, okay, cool. Now who else can we do? Let's bring in more. Let's bring in more.
And this is the power of growing community. This is the power of really being inclusive. And I give hats off to them because they have a sincere desire to be more inclusive and they're putting their efforts behind it. They're showing that this is what they're really about. So good on them. I am so excited about that group. Actually, I'm excited about all that we're working on, but it's something about you
I
that energizes us.
telling them that they're not broken, but they already know that. And I know you talk a lot about the movement. I want to remind everybody this is a free movement. And even though maybe you're with us because you're one of the Enable India's partners, for example, or Access Israel, but please, even if you're part of those groups, come and sign up right at www.billion-strong.org because we actually need all of you on there. We have so many partners, so many advisors, and we need to get them in the rest of the countries as well. But now that we can officially fundraise, we are going to fundraise. And we have a lot of corporations that are loving what we're doing, loving it. And we also are very proud to be partnering with the Valuable 500. We've always loved what Dr. Caroline Casey and her team is doing. And that's also one reason we did create Billion Strong, because we started thinking, okay, this is great that we helped get 500 corporations to the Valuable 500. Yay. But if the Valuable 500 fails, we all fail. We all fail. We have to help them and others be successful. We need these groups to be successful. And so it's very exciting and the reality, if these corporations, for example, or employers cannot find our community, we are not going to be meaningfully included. And Lamondre, what if we don't even know we don't even know we have disabilities ourselves? Like me, I wasn't diagnosed until my late 50s. And it's not that I needed to be diagnosed, but I thought, oh, I'm actually part of this community. And sometimes I think if you live long enough, we're all going to be part of this community. And that's not a bad thing, Lamondre. That's a good thing. We're
Oh
humans.
yeah, disability is simply a point of diversity. I keep saying that over and over again because first of all, it's the largest minority group on the planet, and it's the only minority group that anyone can join at any time. And you probably will, whether that be an accident, illness, or situationally. You will develop or experience some level of disability. Should not be anything that's feared. It should not be anything
No,
that's looked down upon, but it is just certainly a simple fact of life. And if something is a simple fact of life, my thinking is if it's a part of life, let's figure out how do we work it. Let's figure out how
right,
do we embrace it and move forward. What can we learn from it? How can we
right.
best fit it?
And Lamondre, why is it important that we come together and be seen so that, for example, employers know we're here and corporations? I know here in the States, the United States, for example, we don't have to identify. And legally, you can't ask me if I have a disability. I have to. And why is what you're doing so important?
I think there are multiple reasons as to why, and I'm just going to highlight just a couple. Number one, while I am a person with a disability, my disability does not define Lamondre. Now, here, when I say that, I know some people say, what? Listen, my disability is a part of who I am, but it is not the sum total of who I am. But it is not negative. It is not a deficit. But what it does indeed inform my perspective of the world. I see things differently because I'm a black man. I see things differently because I was raised in the southern portion of the United States. I see things differently because I'm a person with a disability, just as you see things differently because of your background, your experiences, where you come from, see things differently. And all of it brings value because what we're looking for now, more than anything else, is we're looking for solutions. We're looking for ways to solve the issues and the problems that we have in this world today, which this world has changed very quickly. Very
Yes, thank
quickly,
goodness.
things have changed. And so, what we're looking for is innovative solutions to solve the problems that we have. And so, in order to solve those problems, we have to have people who see things differently
Excuse
and
me.
who are allowed to speak that truth and to live in that authenticity. Because the truth is, as I said before a million times, when I come to the table, all of me comes to the table. And all of me brings value, just like when you come to the table. All of you comes to the table and all of it brings value. You identified your ADHD as a superpower for you, that it's a benefit for you. In what ways? How? The reason that is because it allows you to see things differently.
Yep.
And so
I've always
in order for the benefit of us all, in order for all of us to progress and to move forward, in order for all of us to move beyond where we've been before, it requires seeing things differently. And this is what it allows us to do. Now, this is not just for the community. This is for the world. Businesses find that when they can present different perspectives, when they explore different perspectives, that they all of a sudden become more profitable. They find new ways to innovate. Or what they find is really they find ways to solve problems. That's what this is.
Right.
This is about us
So,
solving
Lamondre,
problems.
Lamondre, I know that you've accomplished quite a bit despite us having no money and not being able to go after funding just because we couldn't. Even though we did get some funding, we along the way, I know that when my beautiful husband passed away, we asked people to send money to Billion Strong as opposed to flowers. And people were so beautifully generous, so
They
beautifully
were.
generous. It touched my heart, and I know my family's heart too. But what's next? I know you have a lot of corporations that want to help, and we've all been sitting there waiting for our 501(c)(3), which we have. Wait, sorry. But so what do you need the community to do, the corporations to do? What do you need to really you accomplished a lot with zero money, pretty much. What do you need,
We
Lamondre?
need that lifeblood. We definitely do. We need people to sign up. We need people to get on board. And we need your donations. We need people to give because here's the thing. We were able to accomplish the things that we did with very little money, but I will tell you it was much harder because so much of that had to just rely on goodwill and pushing it through. The truth
Yeah.
is, money is a tool. And if we had the tool, we could be so much more effective in the things that we want to do. And I know a lot of times we get caught up in the kumbaya moments. And there are a lot of kumbaya moments out there. Trust me, I understand. But without the funding, without the capital to move it forward, we'll just be feeling good. But our thing is to have an impact. Our thing is to develop programs, is to develop a platform, is to develop a meeting space for people to come together, to have that empowerment through connection. But the only way that we can make those connections is through funding. So that's what we need. We need to come together and figure out the best ways for us to work together. And so that's what we're working on. We're working on how we move it forward. We're working on developing funding strategies that make sense so that we can develop the programs, that we can have an impact in this identity movement, that we can have an impact in areas um, that right now is a lot of goodwill. But what we really want to do is see forward progress. So what you can do for me is go to billion-strong.org, join the movement, and make a donation. Corporations, let's get together. Let's talk about how we can make a difference because believe me, it is in your best interest to do. It is in your best interest to do. And you're talking about innovation. Wait till you see what we've got coming next.
I know it's so exciting. And what we're going to do to support entrepreneurs with disabilities is so exciting. But I also want to say, we also want you to come to us with partnerships. That's what we've done a lot of. We're very good at partnerships and collaboration. We're very good players. When we partner with people, everybody wins, not just us.
Right.
And so the partnerships are so powerful because we have some brands that have come in and said, okay, how do we help you with this? How do we support what you're doing? But at the same time, what we're committed to at Billion Strong is supporting our country partners too. One thing that we want to do, for example, there are all kind of programs that we're putting together, and we want to make sure those programs are implemented throughout the countries. And how you do that, you have to have funding. So if we're in Ghana or Bangladesh, or those groups need money to take the programs we're creating and apply them throughout their countries. that's something that we will be doing. We will be supporting our country partners because that's a mistake I think often that's made. It's, oh, join us. And then nothing ever happens for them. But it's really exciting. Even the Discovery Awards that you mentioned, working with Enable India, they're wonderful awards. And what they are, they reached out to people with disabilities that have been innovative in caring for themselves. And so looking for really smart efforts that have been made. And I've talked about this before, but I love this example. So there was an example of someone that could not hold a pencil or a pen and they wanted to write. And so they came up with an idea of taking a potato and sticking the pen in it or pencil in it, and they were able to learn to write. And then as their hand got stronger, the potato got smaller and smaller till they didn't need a potato. That is brilliant.
Right.
And they have had thousands of videos of people from all over the world, mainly in India, because it started in India, but the innovation is fabulous. And now we're supporting them with other partners to take that across the world so we can really celebrate who we are, the innovators that we
Right.
really are. So that's exciting. But I also want to say partners like, and we're going to have to give some love to LinkedIn.
Oh, absolutely.
God bless LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I applied at the end of 2021 for their creator accelerators, and they selected us and they gave $20,000 to Billion Strong. And let me tell you, that helped us so much. We loved LinkedIn so much.
Absolutely.
And the newsletter that they encouraged us to do, I think we're well over 8,000 subscribers to the Billion Strong newsletter. So special thanks to Victoria Taylor, my
Yes.
point person at LinkedIn, but we love LinkedIn. We love them. And we just see so many brands really understanding that identity matters and lived experiences matter. But we have some beautiful partnerships. And once again, one thing we know how to do, we're good partners. Now, we do expect our partners also to be good partners and to take care of their communities. And if we see people not really taking care of the communities, we'll just get different partners because nothing's going to slow us down now. Nothing's
Right.
going to slow us down, but we do need the funding. It's exciting,
It
Lamondre. I
is.
think
It is. I am so looking forward to 2023. I am. I think that the 2022 was definitely a roller coaster ride. There were a lot of
yeah,
ups and there were an awful lot of downs. And I look at 2023 as a new beginning. And I know that sounds somewhat cliche, but the truth is we now have our 501c3. That means that we can move differently now. That means that we can
right,
approach things differently now. When before it was a lot of goodwill and a lot of this is what we want to do. Now we can actually implement strategies, systems that will allow us to move more effectively and more efficiently through this and see us go to the next phase in our
right.
development. So I
And we have so many corps that want to help us. But what we did deliberately, we didn't go to corporations and say, go ahead and fund us. And then we're going to come back when we get our 501c3 and then you can go. They don't want to do that crap. They just don't want to do that. So we didn't even ask for money. We didn't, there's a lot of corporations that we're doing, very excited about what we're doing, but no, we're legal. Yay, yay.
yeah.
So it's much easier for them to fund us. And I'm very excited about that.
Absolutely. And being that this is a movement by people with disabilities, the truth is this is a movement that belongs in the people's hands. Now that we have our 501c3, again, we can move much more effectively and efficiently through this
Yeah.
process. And so 2023 promises to be a very exciting year.
I agree. And I know that you have a board of directors, which we haven't announced because we decided that we would wait till we got our 501c3. So you will be announcing your very diverse board of directors, diverse gender wise, diverse diversity wise, diverse disability wise, diverse global wise. It's, I think, one of the most diverse boards I've ever
It's
seen.
a
I'm
truly
very
inclusive board. It's a
excited.
truly inclusive board. And the amazing talent that's there is really what excites me about the board. I think that we have people who really are thinkers, people who really will put their shoulder to the wheel and work. It's amazing. So once you see who's on the board, I think you all will say, wow, they're gonna do some things.
Yeah, and it has been dribs and drabs, but anybody ever we're all surviving what's happened the last few years. So that's now we move forward on 2023. Lamondre, I know I kept you on a little bit longer than I was supposed to as usual, but let me give you the last word before we leave.
Absolutely. So as 2022 draws to a close, we reflect, we look back, and we see what we've accomplished, and we celebrate the victories, and we learn from the challenges. But what that does is it gives us fuel. It gives us fuel to move forward. Yes, we have an opportunity to really do something amazing here. And I am offering you the opportunity to join in and do something amazing with us. Go to our website, billion-strong. That's billion-strong.org, and join the movement and make a donation if you're so moved. But what I want you to understand that this is about the empowerment of all people. As I said before, disability is the largest minority group on the planet. And the truth is, we've got a voice and we're using that voice. People are standing up and standing out. Things are changing. And so this is an opportunity for you to be a part of that empowerment, to be a part of that awakening, to be a part of that change. You've heard the term be the change you want to see. This is a way to be that. So
So true.
join us. Join us, billion-strong.org. Join the movement and just watch how the world changes. Be a part of the world changing. So thank you.
Yeah. We're going to need everybody. We need everybody, and we want your ideas too. So once again, www.billion-strong.org. The billionstrong.org was available. We didn't want to pay $4,000 for it, so we're going to put a dash in it.
We didn't have the money to pay for it anyway.
That's right. We went with the billion-strong.org. So thank you so much, Lamondre. I appreciate you. I'm so excited to be walking this path with you, and I agree with you. We're all stronger together. So www.billion-strong.org, and Happy New Year.
Thank you for your leadership, Deborah. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
You've been listening to Human Potential at Work. To learn more about Rue Global Impact, visit rueglobal.com. And to learn more about Billion Strong, an identity and empowerment organization designed to bring the billions of voices of persons with disabilities together, you can join the global community and donate at billion-strong.org. That's billion-strong.org.